There is a certain quiet, isn't there? A hush that descends not from the mere absence of audible sound, but from the cessation of a far more profound kind of vibration. Perhaps you felt it, deep within the marrow of your being, in the sacred space between two souls that once resonated with an undeniable, vibrant hum. A subtle shift, like the turning of a great, ancient season, slow and deliberate, yet utterly transformative in its quiet arrival. It's not the silence of profound peace, nor the quiet of deep contentment, where two hearts simply rest in effortless harmony. No, this is different. It is a listening, a deep, unsettling stillness that speaks volumes without uttering a single audible word. Have you ever found yourself dwelling in such a space, where the very air itself seems to thicken, heavy with unspoken questions, with truths unacknowledged, yet profoundly felt? It's a particular kind of quiet, this one. It settles deep into the bones, into the very fabric of a shared life, like a fine dust accumulating on forgotten memories. Though emotions are undoubtedly present, swirling in its wake, it is, at its profound core, an energetic one. A deep, subtle, yet ultimately irreversible shift in the very flow of life itself between two interconnected beings. For, as we have explored, between a man and a woman, there flows not just surface passion, not merely fleeting affection, but life itself, a current, a sacred, pulsing river of shared vitality, a vibrant creative force that animates every aspect of their union. When this current begins its quiet recession, when her energetic presence starts to dim, to fade in the shared space, it's not simply a cooling of emotions, a loss of desire in the physical sense. It is a deep, systemic change that affects the very foundations of the relationship. It's as if the tap of life-giving energy, the profound wellspring from which both partners once drew sustenance, has been gently, almost imperceptibly turned down. Or perhaps the vital connection to that wellspring, from her side, has begun its slow, sorrowful closure. It is a shift in the very magnetic field that once held you together with such potent force, a weakening of the invisible yet immensely strong threads that weave two distinct destinies into one cohesive tapestry. This energy, this potent creative current, is the very foundation of intimacy, of shared purpose, of profound healing. When it falters, when it recedes, everything else around it begins to subtly rearrange itself, to adapt to its palpable absence, leaving a hollow echo in its place. Not because her desire has vanished, but because the energy required to ask, to expose herself to potential disappointment, to feel unseen in her vulnerability, becomes too great a burden. And so, the asking ceases. The longing retreats to a quieter chamber within her heart.
Consider a garden. Its beauty, its fragrance, its very aliveness relies on consistent nourishment, on light, on space to breathe, on a gardener who tends to its hidden needs. When she isn't allowed to breathe, her inner garden ceases to bloom. Her natural vibrancy dims, her colors soften, her unique essence, it pulls back. Not because she wills it to die, but because the life current is no longer feeding her in the way it needs. This is not merely about physical intimacy fading, you understand. No, this is about the very essence of her vitality, the spark that fuels her creativity, her joy, her spontaneous laughter, her connection to the world around her, and most profoundly, to herself. When this deeper, energetic current is consistently blocked, we don't just lose sex, we lose vitality. We lose the vibrant hum of life itself. The world seems a little less bright, the music a little less resonant. And the man, does he notice this quiet turning away? Perhaps not in its initial subtle shifts. Perhaps he only feels the growing space between them, a silence where laughter or shared dreams used to bloom. He might sense a distance, but misinterpreted source. This isn't necessarily a failure of love, not in its purest form. It is often a failure of presence, of deep, authentic listening, of truly seeing the soul that stands before you, beyond the roles, beyond the daily tasks, beyond the surface of routine. When the subtle signals are consistently missed, when the unspoken remains unheard, the wellspring within her begins to dry. Not completely, perhaps, but its flow becomes a trickle, a whisper, instead of a vibrant, generous stream. The longing for genuine connection, for profound understanding, this is a fundamental human need. And when it goes consistently unmet, the heart learns to protect itself. It draws inward. It builds quiet, invisible walls. Her smile may still be there, her duty still performed. She may still navigate the world with grace, but something essential has withdrawn. A vital current has been diverted from the shared space of the relationship back into a place of solitary survival within her. A profound stillness settles, waiting. Love, feel, breathe. The energy within you has never died. It's been waiting for you to awaken. We've spoken of the quietness, the subtle turning away, a stillness that settles, not with a bang, but with a sigh. But what truly happens in that quiet space when a woman begins to recede, not just from a man, but from something deeper within herself? It is not merely a relationship that begins to fade. No, it is far more profound. We are speaking of the subtle yet seismic shift in the very current of life that animates her.
The current that breathes fire into her spirit and grace into her form. Think of it. Between a man and a woman flows not just passion, but life itself, a swirling, vibrant river of energy. This energy, this sacred current, it is often mislabeled, misunderstood. We call it sexual energy, and immediately the mind narrows, confines it to the physical, to the bedroom. But that is only one small tributary of its magnificent flow. This energy, my friends, is the very essence of creation. It is the breath that paints the world with color, the impulse that brings forth art, music, poetry. It is the wisdom that nurtures, the strength that builds, the vision that inspires. It is the hum of the universe echoing within us. When a woman breathes deeply, life breathes with her. Her entire being becomes a conduit for this vibrant force. It courses through her veins, awakens her senses, sharpens her intuition. It is what allows her to create, to heal, to inspire, to lead, to love with an intensity that can move mountains. It is her inherent power, her natural state of grace. And what is desire in this context?
Desire is the language through which the soul speaks. It is not merely a craving of the flesh, but a deep, resonant call from the very core of our being, a longing for connection, for expression, for the divine dance of creation itself. Desire is not the body calling, it is the soul singing. It is the universe remembering itself through us, inviting us into its grand symphony. Attraction is not sin, it's the universe remembering itself. But what happens when this song is muffled, when the soul's language is ignored, or worse, dismissed? When the wellspring of desire begins to dry, not from exhaustion, but from neglect. When a woman stops feeling desired, or stops desiring, it's not just the end of passion. Oh no, it is the stilling of a part of her soul, her creative flow. It is as if a vibrant river, once free-flowing and alive, begins to slow, to stagnate. The water, once clear and rushing, grows still, then murky. This is the deeper meaning of her quiet retreat. It is not just about physical intimacy. It is about a blockage in the very current of her life. When energy is blocked, we don't lose sex, we lose vitality. We lose the spark that ignites joy, the courage that fuels dreams, the boundless well of intuition that guides her path. You see, for a woman, this sensual, creative energy is deeply intertwined with her sense of self, her purpose, her very aliveness. When it flows freely, she is radiant. She is an artist, whether with a brush, a garden, a business, or the raising of children. She is a healer, a visionary, a source of light and warmth. Her creativity blossoms in every facet of her life. She is magnetic, not in a superficial way, but in a way that draws life to her, that inspires growth around her. But when this energy is suppressed, when the intimate connection, the sacred dance between two souls, becomes a source of emptiness rather than nourishment, then the blockage begins. It's a slow, insidious process. The tapestries of her creative spirit start to unravel. The colors of her world dim. The music in her heart softens, then silences. She might find herself losing interest in things she once loved. Her passion projects might stall. Her natural joy, her effervescence might recede, replaced by a quiet weariness. That spark in her eyes, that vibrant, living glow, might dim. This isn't just about feeling unwanted in bed. It's about feeling unlit in life. It's about the very fount of her inspiration becoming still.
A deep, shared breath in the quiet chamber of your connection. A conscious offering of the space she needs to reappear, not as she was, but as she is now. Love. Feel. Breathe. The energy within you has never died. It's been waiting for you to awaken. We've journeyed through the quiet spaces where intimacy sometimes retreats, where the vibrant current of connection can seem to dim. You felt it, haven't you? That subtle shift when a woman, without a word, begins to gather her own essence back into herself, not as an act of defiance, but as a deep, instinctual turning inward. A breath held, perhaps, a quiet surrender, not to defeat, but to a different kind of truth. It can feel like a loss, a fading, but what if it is simply a pause, a recalibration of the very current of life that flows between us? Because between a man and a woman flows not just passion, but life itself, a river, sometimes roaring, sometimes a whisper, but always, always moving.
We often mistake the quieting of outward expression for the death of inner fire, but the fire that simply changes its form, it goes deeper, it waits. And this waiting, this is where true wisdom begins to bloom. Consider for a moment, what is this energy we speak of, this force that draws us together, that sparks creativity, that heals and transforms? It is not merely the clamor of physical desire. No, desire is the language through which the soul speaks. It is a yearning for wholeness, a remembering of our interconnectedness. Attraction is not sin, it's the universe remembering itself, a recognition of one divine spark in another. When this energy is blocked, when the natural flow is interrupted by unspoken needs, by unaddressed distances, by the hurried pace of our modern lives, we don't lose sex, we lose vitality. We lose the very essence of what makes us feel alive, vibrant, truly present. The world becomes a little grayer, the laughter a little less free, the silence a little heavier. But the current never truly dies. It simply lies dormant, like a seed awaiting the warmth of the sun and the kiss of the rain. It waits for awareness, for a gentle turning towards, a quiet listening. Think of the breath, so simple, so profound. When a woman breathes deeply, life breathes with her. And when a man allows himself to truly witness that breath, to feel the rhythm of her being, he does not lose power when he ages. He loses it when he stops looking with wonder, when he stops truly seeing, truly feeling, truly connecting to that sacred rhythm that pulses within her and within himself. This journey is not about techniques or tricks to reignite a flame. It is about remembering the sacredness of your own being, the profound wellspring of energy that resides within you, and then remembering the sacredness of the other. It is about learning to breathe again, not just individually, but together, to listen to the unspoken language of the bide, the quiet song of the soul. When we learn to breathe together again, to listen to that quiet song of the soul, we find something more than just a relationship. We find life itself. This understanding, this gentle awakening to the truth of our energetic nature, it is the first step.
The first soft breeze that stirs the dormant embers. It reminds us that passion doesn't vanish, it transforms, it deepens. It becomes a wellspring of inspiration, strength, and an even more profound intimacy.